Hello YouTube friends, Ben Ochart here, and thank you for tuning in. Today I want to talk about the heroes family of fish, the severums. And this red spotted severum and this red shoulder severum are currently living in my South American 55-gallon tank. They will reach they'll reach a size of 7+, 8+ inches. And so even though 55 seems to be a recommended tank size, I'm going to be moving these fish out to a larger aquarium. They seem relatively peaceful and calm. The only chasing I see is between the two red shoulders. They go after each other, but they tend to kind of ignore other fish. And if I had to classify them, I would say that they're very, very shy. They're on the shy side. The red spotted has become more and more confident over time and does come up to the front of the tank and interact with me quite a bit. If you startle them, however, they will go under a log or in a corner behind a filter and stay there for quite some time. They startle pretty easily, so you really have to just kind of move carefully around the tank, or else they might even bump themselves into something. But this red spotted has become more confident over time. It doesn't really chase anybody or get chased by anybody. The only chases are between the darker red shoulder severum that chases the lighter red shoulder. You can feed them pretty much anything. They're very, very, very good eaters. They'll go after anything from worms to dry food to pellets to flakes. Very, very hardy in their eating habits. I'm really enjoying watching these fish interact with each other and watching them grow and develop, and I'm very much looking forward to these red shoulders putting on the spectacular color that you can see in them as they get older and start to show more darker shades of green and red behind the head. These are barely starting to show little bits of red in the body. You can see the bands, the different vertical bands on the body of the red shoulder. I think it's a beautiful fish, even as a young fish. Still some of the information on there. And if you go through the internet, there's a lot of information on these species. Some talk about originating in the area of Peru and the Amazon basin, and how in nature you'll usually see the green variety, which over time has been bred and crossbred and given us the different kinds of varieties we see today, like the gold, the red, and the red spotted. All of them beautiful varieties. I don't think they're fast growers, and you can see on my red shoulder some of the marks that they get from chasing each other around the tank. Sometimes the starry night will also chase the severums and the geos, and that might be what's resulted in some of those marks you see on the body of the red shoulders. The red shoulders are way more shy than the red spotted and usually tend to stay behind the filter or under one of the pieces of driftwood. One of the things that's recommended for these fish is that you provide either pots or driftwood or some type of decor that will give them a place that they can go and feel comfortable or protected. I had to be very, very slow moving and careful to get this footage, because any type of movement sends them under a log or into a corner in the shadows where you really can't see them. More so the red shoulders than the red spotted. The red spotted gold severum, he'll hang out, and I think he's gotten to the point now where he associates my presence with food and so he will start to move towards the top of the tank when he or she sees me. Hard to determine the sex of these fish. I suspect this might be a female only because they say that the patterns of a severum will be less apparent on the forehead, head area if it's a female. And this one, as you can see, has red spots that are more or less missing on the forehead, right there between the eyes. So I would suspect this is a female. But one of the things I love about South American cichlids is, unlike with my American, or rather with my African cichlids, you don't have females that are just gray and drab. Both the males and the females will display beautiful color. And so you don't have to be so careful or wait for a year to 2 years to discover that you've ended up with a gray and drab fish that now you're going to go and trade out and try and get a male. With South Americans, you buy one of the species and you're going to end up with a colored up fish with maybe some very, very minor differences between the males and the females. They like their tanks, around 75 degrees. They like their pH, about 7. Even though, again, with locally bred fish, they're probably going to be pretty much accustomed to the water conditions that you find, here locally. Heros fasciatus, of course, I'm probably butchering that, but a quick look through the internet and you can pick up a lot of good information on these fish. As you can see here, pretty simple stuff. Not really, in my opinion, a very difficult fish to take care of, and they have turned out to be rather hardy. The red spotted one was picked up here locally from my friends over at Aquatic Critters here in Nashville. The red shoulders were sent over to me by James over at the Cichlid Shack, one of the sponsors of the channel. I'm really looking forward to watching these fish achieve that full size, that bulk and large beauty that they display as adults. Even though I am finding that they are very, very pretty, even as what you would call a juvie or a younger fish, as you can see here. I think this fish here is extremely pretty. The dark orange and red in the anal fin, the spots in the body. And I particularly like this fish because despite having a reputation of being shy, this particular severum does interact with me. A lot more so than the vieja that you see in the background there. They pretty much get startled and head for underneath a piece of driftwood when I get too close. Even though they have gotten a little bit more bold recently and will go to the top of the tank when they anticipate that it's feeding time. There's a geophagus in the background there, another fish I'm really looking forward to seeing put on size and color. These fish are going to be transferred to a 90-gallon. I'm waiting for the stand and other pieces of that setup, but these fish will go into a 90-gallon where I think they're going to be a lot happier. I'm not going to be keeping real plants. They've already started destroying the plants that are in there, so I'm pretty sure that the tank will be decorated with several inches of substrate and some artificial plants, probably more artificial plants from my friends over at Elite Cichlids. You can see a little bit of red there behind the head. And perhaps if I had a darker substrate, maybe you'd be seeing a little bit more of it. But they'll come around, and as they do, for those of you who've been following the channel, you know how much I enjoy growing fish out and watching them actually put on their adult colors. So that's the severum. Some people have referred to him sometimes as the poor man's cichlid, which I guess if you're somebody who likes to attach some type of stigma or perhaps make condescending comments about people with less money, I guess that's a nickname you can use. I prefer just to call them a severum. And they are beautiful and unique in their own right. Very different from cichlids. I'm sorry, but they're very different from a discus, but a fish that I might be keeping in the future. But for right now, I'll grow out these guys and maybe add a green severum and a red severum to the mix. We'll see. Join me on Saturdays if you can for the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. It's at 11 a.m. Central. That's noon Eastern or 9 a.m. Pacific. That's it for me. I appreciate you stopping by and joining me on this journey.